David Muir, ABC's World News Tonight, America's most watched newscast. Now streaming same day with all the breaking news of the day on Disney+. Most watched, most trusted. Now on Disney+ every night.
Tonight we have breaking news right now. The images coming in. There has been a deadly shooting outside the largest Islamic center in San Diego County. 5 dead, 3 victims, including a security guard. The 2 shooters also dead. Children rushed from the scene. Authorities treating this as a possible hate crime tonight. We'll go live to the scene. Also tonight, authorities warning of a potentially dangerous situation in the next couple of hours. The tornado watches in multiple states. Several tornadoes already, homes destroyed, and the major fire burning in California tonight. Ginger Z has it all. Tonight, the shocking midair collision. 2 U.S. Navy attack jets in midair, suddenly tangled, crashing to the ground and exploding. Martha Raddatz with late reporting tonight. An American doctor testing positive for Ebola. His wife, also a doctor, exposed. Tonight, the Justice Department setting up a fund now, $1.8 billion in taxpayer money. What the president calls an anti-weaponization fund to compensate Trump allies, including the rioters on January 6th, who were prosecuted. Tonight, Luigi Mangione in court and the major ruling now from the judge. There is breaking news tonight on the war in Iran. President Trump, a short time ago, saying he's now called off an attack on Iran set for tomorrow. The Strait of Hormuz still closed, gas hovering at $4.50 a gallon. In New York City, the major rail strike affecting hundreds of thousands of commuters. Late word on the strike tonight. The OJ Simpson case and news coming in involving a major figure in that case who has now died. The deadly home explosion, a woman killed. The race to rescue 8 people trapped inside a cave on the beach, the water quickly rising. And tonight, Punch the Monkey and the 2 Americans who've been arrested. What they're accused of doing at that zoo.
From ABC News World Headquarters in New York, this is World News Tonight with David Muir.
Good evening. We are back from China. We begin this Monday night with the breaking news here at home. There has been a deadly shooting outside the largest Islamic center in San Diego County, California. At least 3 victims, including a security guard who's been killed. 2 suspects, 17 and 19 years old, also found dead. The images coming in tonight, police responding to calls of an active shooter at the Islamic Center of San Diego. Heavily armed officers on the scene with guns drawn, police and FBI surrounding the center. Video showing young children holding hands, being led from that center, single file, getting them to safety. Tonight, authorities say the shooting is being investigated as a potential hate crime, and ABC's Trevor Ault leads us off tonight. He's on the scene in San Diego.
Tonight, 3 people are dead, including a security guard at the largest mosque in San Diego, after authorities say 2 teenage gunmen opened fire.
We have confirmed 3 victims, 11:44 outside the building, as well as 2, reportedly 2 shooters.
SWAT teams swarming the Islamic Center of San Diego shortly before noon.
Within 4 minutes, officers arrived on scene and observed immediately 3 what appeared to be deceased victims out in front. They immediately began to deploy with an active shooter response into the mosque and adjacent school.
A line of children holding hands being led through a maze of officers with guns drawn.
I tell you what got me, watching the kids come running out. Just thankful to be alive.
Law enforcement methodically clearing the building, going room by room. Parents in panic.
Come with me.
Lining the streets, waiting for word on their children.
It's very disturbing, especially when there are kids on both ends, both in the mosque and both in school.
Authorities say the security guard was killed while helping save lives.
His actions were heroic, and undoubtedly he saved lives today.
Authorities say the suspects, aged 17 and 19, died from self-inflicted gunshot wounds inside their vehicle a few blocks away. And sources tell ABC News the suspects had anti-Islamic writings in the vehicle with them. Late today, police revealed one of the suspects' mothers called police 2 hours before the shooting.
She realized that she was missing weapons, multiple weapons. She found some note left by him. What that note looks like, what that note says, I'm not going to disclose right now. Her vehicle was missing. There are details that she was beginning to develop a bigger picture as to what she was dealing with.
Late today, the imam who leads that Islamic Center addressing the tragedy.
I know it's time of sorrow, time of sadness. We have never experienced a tragedy like this before. It is extremely outrageous to target a place of worship.
So let's bring in Trevor Ault. He's live on the scene there in San Diego. Trevor, what more have you learned tonight?
Well, David, now this major investigation is underway here. We're outside the Islamic Center, but this is a crime scene that stretches several blocks in every single direction. Law enforcement now trying to determine the motive of those two teenage shooters. And we know in recent years, as these kinds of shootings have become more common, a number of houses of worship have been hiring security guards. It appears in this incident that this officer died protecting the people inside. David.
And those images of the children walking out, holding hands, getting them to safety. Trevor Ault reporting this into the night for us. Thank you. Also breaking as we're on the air here, authorities are right now warning of a potentially dangerous situation in the next couple of hours. The tornado watch is in multiple states, possible tornadoes, damaging winds. They're talking about large hail and flash flooding. Multiple tornadoes already, homes destroyed, the system then moving into the east. Tonight, there's also a major fire burning in California. So Chief Meteorologist Ginger Z has the forecast. She's in the storm zone tonight.
Tonight, more powerful tornadoes in the forecast after a dangerous and violent 24 hours in the Heartland. Sirens sounding as our station KMBC tracks storms northwest of Kansas City.
We're in Rockport, Missouri. We're in the tornado warning with a high precipitation supercell approaching my location here, just outside here.
This massive tornado in St. Libory, Nebraska, Sunday night, just north of Grand Island. The towering circulation churning across farmland, heading for homes. And in the aftermath, drone video shows the miraculous moment first responders pulled a dog and two people from underneath their flattened home.
Oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh.
In Sioux City, Iowa, a terrifying tornado forming right in front of Crystal Folsom. And there is fire danger from the plains to the west.
You can tell folks are frantically trying to get out of this area. There's structure protection trying to get into place. But boy, this is a frightening fire.
Our station, KABC, overhead as at least one home went up in flames northwest of Los Angeles. Our Melissa Adan on the ground.
This wildfire driven by high winds destroying this home here in Simi Valley, but firefighters managing to save a dozen more.
Firefighters trying to get the upper hand on the Sandy fire with help from an aerial assault. The danger continues tonight.
So let's get right to Chief Meteorologist Ginger Z. You're tracking these potential tornadoes and, of course, the fires now in California.
Yes, David, there is that nasty line of tornado-warned storms about 80 miles to our north and west, and that is right in the center of all of these tornado watches from Creston, Iowa, back to Wichita Falls, Texas. But that area circled in red, that's the PDS, or particularly dangerous situation tornado watch. We don't see that as often from Salina right through Manhattan, Kansas. That next couple of hours, it's crunch time for tornadoes. That's when we're going to see them. Then it becomes linear, meaning that we'll have damaging winds blowing through Kansas City, and also the potential for flash flooding all the way to St. Louis, Indianapolis, even in that flood watch. Tomorrow, the threat goes from Burlington back to Dallas and even Austin, Texas. David, primary hazard is damaging winds.
Ginger Z will be watching it first thing in the morning on GMA. Thank you. Tonight, the terrifying images with spectators watching the shocking midair collision at an Air Force base in Idaho. Two U.S. Navy attack jets in midair, suddenly tangled, spiraling, crashing to the ground, and then exploding. Martha Raddatz had what she's learned tonight.
It was an air show turned nightmare. These two Navy attack jets colliding midair, stuck together and spiraling out of control. The four crew members ejecting and parachuting to the ground near the smoking wreckage, all within 30 seconds. How could it have happened? Watch again. The wingman flies right into the tail of the lead jet.
It's the wingman's responsibility to rendezvous safely and not hit the lead aircraft. For some reason, that wingman got above the lead aircraft, lost sight of the lead aircraft, and impacted as we saw.
Ruben Villalpando was at the air show with his family.
I knew they both had went down, and I just had hoped that the pilots had ejected.
In fact, watch those flashes of light. It took only 5 seconds for the crew to eject.
Truly miraculous that both aircraft stuck together, now inverted, both crews ejecting just feet apart and getting parachutes before the aircraft hit the ground.
And David, even more miraculous, only one crew member was injured, and the injuries are not life-threatening. David?
Martha Radis reporting tonight. Martha, thank you. Tonight, an alarming headline involving an American doctor from Richmond, Virginia, now testing positive for Ebola. His wife, also a doctor, has been exposed. They're working in Central Africa. Here's Steve Osunsami.
The Serge International Missionary Organization is confirming tonight that one of their American physicians from Richmond, Virginia, Dr. Peter Stafford, is being treated for Ebola, and that his wife, who works with him in Central Africa, was exposed but shows no symptoms. Dr. Stafford and his wife, Dr. Rebecca Stafford, are seen here in a photo from the organization's website. Both have been living and working in the Democratic Republic of Congo since 2019 with their 4 children. And the family of 6 is now on their way to get specialized care and monitoring in Germany, along with another doctor who is not showing signs of the disease.
CDC has been working hand in hand with the Department of State to move the American for treatment and care to Germany and other high-risk contacts to Germany for monitoring.
Dr. Peter Stafford first showed symptoms Saturday night and was diagnosed Sunday with this rare variant of Ebola that has no vaccine. At least 88 people have already died in this outbreak that includes 336 suspected cases. It's a disease that can cause its victims to bleed to death. On top of all this, health officials at the CDC are still dealing with the Hanavirus outbreak. Someone else has tested positive from that cruise ship that is now docked tonight in Amsterdam, an 11th passenger, this time a Canadian. To protect the stateside, the U.S. government is now refusing to allow anyone without a U.S. passport entry into this country if they've been traveling through any of the regions dealing with Ebola. David?
Steve Osunsami with us here. Steve, thank you. We turn now to your money tonight. The Justice Department has now set up a fund paid for in taxpayer money, $1.8 billion, what the president calls an anti-weaponization fund to compensate Trump allies, including the rioters on January 6th. Here's Rachel Scott.
Tonight, the Justice Department announcing a new so-called anti-weaponization fund, $1.8 billion in taxpayer money to be given away to allies of President Trump who claim they were unfairly treated by the Biden DOJ. Among those who could see payouts, the 1,600 people charged in connection with the riot at the Capitol on January 6th. President Trump told his supporters to march to the Capitol.
We're going to walk down to the Capitol because you'll never take back our country with weakness.
Today, the president defending the new fund.
This is reimbursing people that were horribly treated. It's anti-weaponization. They've been weaponized. They've been, in some cases, imprisoned wrongly.
The fund is part of a legal settlement between President Trump and his own administration. The president agreeing to drop his $10 billion lawsuit against the IRS over the leak of some of his tax returns several years ago. He's also dropping $230 million in claims against the Justice Department for investigations they launched against him. President Trump has acknowledged the unprecedented circumstances, a president suing his own administration, which he controls. Democrats tonight calling it a MAGA slush fund.
Trump pardoned violent insurrectionists who assaulted your Capitol to overturn your votes. And now he wants to give them your hard-earned tax dollars as a reward. Can you believe that?
And again, David, we're talking about nearly $1.8 billion of taxpayer money. This fund will expire a few weeks before the president leaves office, David.
Rachel Scott with us. Thank you, Rachel. We turn now to accused CEO killer Luigi Mangione. Tonight, a major ruling over the evidence. Aaron Katersky was in the courtroom.
Accused killer Luigi Mangione entered a New York courtroom today where a judge ruled some of the most damning evidence can be used against him at trial. That includes this gun, which prosecutors said matches the one used to kill United Healthcare Chief Executive Brian Thompson on a New York City sidewalk. And this red notebook that prosecutors described as a confession Mangione wrote about wanting to whack the CEO of the greed-fueled health insurance cartel.
Yes, sir. There you go.
Police found those items during a search of Mangione's backpack at the precinct following a days-long manhunt that ended with his arrest at a Pennsylvania McDonald's. But the judge ruled other items pulled from the bag while Mangione was still at the McDonald's cannot be used, including a magazine, cell phone, passport, wallet, and computer chip. That part of the search, the judge said, was illegal.
I find that the search of the backpack at the McDonald's was improper, warrantless search.
Mangione has pleaded not guilty. David, trial set for September. David?
Eric Katursky back with us on this case. Thank you, Aaron. Now to the war in Iran tonight. President Trump late today saying he has called off an attack on Iran that he had planned for tomorrow. Let's get right to Mary Bruce. Mary, what do we know?
Well, David, tonight with the war in Iran now in its 12th week, President Trump announcing, quote, serious negotiations are now taking place. He claims he was planning to launch a new attack on Iran tomorrow, but changed his mind at the request of regional allies, including Saudi Arabia and the UAE. It's unclear, though, if talks are making much headway. Iran's president today saying, quote, dialogue doesn't mean surrender. David.
Mary Bruce live at the White House. Thank you. In New York City, the major rail strike affecting hundreds of thousands of commuters, the Long Island Railroad. Stephanie Ramos on this tonight. Stephanie.
David, this crippling 3-day strike that shut down North America's busiest passenger railway, the Long Island Railroad, is finally over. Nearly 300,000 commuters left scrambling to figure out how to get in and out of New York City. But after hours of talks today, finally a deal between the MTA and union leaders. David.
Stephanie Ramos with us. Steph, thank you. When we come back here, the OJ Simpson case in the news tonight. The news coming in involving a major figure in that case who has now died, and the cause tonight. Also, we're tracking this deadly home explosion. A woman has been killed. And tonight, Punch the Monkey and 2 Americans who've been arrested, what they're accused of doing at that zoo. We'll be right back. Tonight, there was late word a central figure in the OJ Simpson case has died. Former Los Angeles police detective Mark Fuhrman has died. TMZ now reporting Fuhrman died from throat cancer, the prosecution's case unraveling in part over Fuhrman's use of a racial slur. Fuhrman was 74 years old. Tonight, a deadly home explosion. A woman has been killed, 2 injured. This played out in Wonder Lake, Illinois. Powerful blast rocking the entire neighborhood there. Still no word on a cause tonight. When we come back on the broadcast, Punch the Monkey and 2 Americans have been arrested tonight. What they're accused of doing at that zoo. To the index of other news tonight, the race to rescue 8 people trapped inside a cave on a beach. This played out in Santa Cruz, California, while the tide was rising. The group got stuck. Some didn't know how to swim. Lifeguards guiding 5 people through the water. A Coast Guard crew airlifting 3 others back to shore. The world knows the story of Punch the Monkey now. Well, tonight we've learned that 2 Americans have been arrested at the zoo where Punch lives in Japan. Police say a man dressed in a costume climbed into the exhibit while another man recorded the stunt. The zoo saying Punch and the other animals are okay. The New York Times reporting tonight the zoo is now adding patrols, netting, and restricting the viewing around Punch's enclosure. When we come back on the broadcast, the father-daughter dance at the wedding, and then the recording the father suddenly plays for his daughter. What she said when she was just 4. Finally tonight here, the father-daughter dance at the wedding and the recording he suddenly plays for her. What she said as a little girl. Tonight, the wedding day surprise from a father to his daughter during their dance, more than 2 decades in the making. In La Jolla, California, that dad, Lou Rosenberg, and his daughter, Jordan, dancing together during their father-daughter dance. Dad tells her, listen closely to their song, God Only Knows by the Beach Boys. But it was more than just the song. You can then hear that father talking to his daughter when she was just 4.
Tell me about your wedding.
My wedding is gonna have clowns dancing with the children and a moon bounce and face painting.
He then asked, who will you invite?
Gracie?
Uh-huh.
Rachel?
Yeah.
Candy?
Yeah. One more. Little Sarah.
Yeah.
Her friends, Gracie, Rachel, Kylie, Sarah, all of whom are still her friends, and they were all there. And then Dad asks her about the groom. With the camera panning over to her new husband, Max, just listen to what she says when Dad asks that 4-year-old for a name. She says Max. Her new husband, Max, shocked. The 2 met in college, but somehow Jordan naming Max 26 years ago. And right here tonight.
Hey, David.
Hey, David.
Jordan and Max.
We're just so happy it's been able to put a smile on other people's faces.
Absolutely.
And joining us too,
Hi, David.
the proud father of the bride.
Any father who's going to be giving their daughter away in a wedding, cherish the moment. It's a special moment of love between a father and daughter.
Well, Jordan and Max, the father of the bride, we celebrate you all tonight, and I'll see you right back here tomorrow. Did you see the groom's face? Good night.
David Muir, the most trusted anchor in America, the most watched anchor in America. Thank you for making World News Tonight with David Muir the #1 newscast in America.